Okay folks, welcome to the channel. Today we are making one of my favorites, savory meatloaf. No tomatoes will be harmed in the making of this product, I assure you. So this is my favorite dish. I'm going to make 2 pounds of meatloaf, which is savory, using liquid smoke, cream of bacon soup are the stars here. I'm only going to use 1 egg because I'm also going to put some cheese in that's going to help bind. I'm going to grate an onion, and I'm going to chop up grate a carrot and chop up some onion to put in it. And I've got my garlic, we've got some breadcrumbs, we've got the salt. I'm going to get everything prepped and we'll be right back. This does not take long to make, and we're going to do it in the Instant Pot. Stand by for how to make this great savory recipe. I vacuum seal. What I'll do is I'll put it in the fridge overnight when it's nice and hard. Next day I'll slice it up and I'll vacuum seal it in individual portions. So for $11 for the 2 pounds of meat, I'm going to get probably about 6 or 7 meals out of this. So stay tuned, I'll show you how to make it. Okay, so we're back and we're ready to get cooking. So I like to put all my liquids in first. So what I've done is I've chopped up the onion, I've grated up a carrot, and I've poured in the cream of bacon soup into this large bowl. Now, for the other ingredient that I like to add to this to make it savory is liquid smoke. So I'm going to put in 1. I see people pouring over the bowls all the time, but what if you ended up spilling like I usually do right there, if you see? I'm terrible at measuring, but believe me, you don't want to put too much liquid smoke in. And then I put about a teaspoon of pepper in. And then about a couple teaspoons of garlic powder in. And then about a teaspoon of salt. I don't use a lot of salt. And we put that in. And now we're going to stir everything all up. Get all the spices mixed in before we put the beef in. Get those all mixed together. The carrots are good. A lot of people will peel the carrots, but they're like a potato. As long as you scrub them, the peelings are actually nutritious. And a lot of the nutrients are in the peelings. But again, no tomatoes will be harmed in the making of this. So then we're going to add the beef. Dump it in. And because this is pretty liquidy, you can pretty much mix this up, stir it pretty good until we start adding the breadcrumbs. So what I'm going to do is just keep stirring this, and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. I won't use my hands. I'll stir it to the point when I'm ready to start using my hands, and I'll glove up, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, we're just about ready, folks. I'll show you the consistency of it there, see? Now, I haven't put any breadcrumbs in here yet. A lot of people go in with the meatloaf, and they start mixing it up with their hands. Put the liquids in first, get the spices mixed in, and then before you start adding the breadcrumbs and anything else that you want to use to bind, that's when you can start using your hands. Okay, stay tuned. I'm going to glove up and I'll be right back. Okay, folks, I decided not to glove up. My cut is healed on my hand. It's a big production with the gloves. So before I start mixing, and I was just stirring it there, a piece of carrot came out. Before I start mixing with my hands, I like to have the tin foil ready. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the loaf that we're going to form, which is going to be the width of the Instant Pot. And what I can do is use one of these as a guide. So it's got to be, I've been doing it so long, I already know right off the bat. But if you want, you can put this down. You can get these if you don't have one. It's a sling. And it just makes it to easily lift things out. So here we go. We're going to add in about a half a cup of breadcrumbs. I just eyeball it. And then we're going to put about a cup of cheese in. Mozzarella. There's not a lot of flavor in this. This is just a bind. So it's about a cup of cheese. And then now's where the fun begins. We get to play. Now work all of that in. Make sure all of the breadcrumbs are incorporated, all the cheese. We've already mixed all the spices in, so the worst part is over. The thing with this, it's not going to be firm. You don't want it to be. Otherwise, it's going to be dry. Just make sure it's all mixed in. Then we're going to take it out and start forming our ball. Don't worry if little bits are left behind. And don't worry about spraying the tin foil. Trust me, enough grease is going to come out of this. And then just start shaping your ball. So this is going to be a nice, thick, round meatloaf. We still have some meat left there. We'll incorporate that in. There, and just to make sure. Yeah, good fit. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'll be right back. Okay, folks, the hands are washed. And we're just going to fold this up like so. Shape it. And then we're going to move it over to here. Make sure it fits on there. So the good thing about having this trivet is that you know it's going to fit in the Instant Pot. When it's done, it's a breeze to lift it out. And again, you can get these on Amazon. My hands were full of the meat when I put that on. So now what we're going to do, slide the Instant Pot over. We're going to put a cup of water, hot water, turn it on, and we're going to cook it at 40 minutes. So we'll just put this in. You don't have to worry about poking a hole in the bottom of the tin foil because we want it to actually cook. But I'll show you what we do when it's done. Put the lid, and we're going to cook it again for 40 minutes on high pressure. Click start. Then we're going to let it naturally, say that 5 times really fast, naturally release for 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll be back when the 10 minutes is almost up. Stay tuned. Okay, folks, here we are. We have about 8 minutes that it's been naturally releasing, so we've got 2 minutes left. So just something about this recipe. This is something I made up on my own. I don't know, there may be a recipe out there, but I was scouring YouTube to try to find a meatloaf recipe without tomatoes. Because since I was a kid, there's always been tomatoes, barbecue sauce, something in the meatloaf. What I like to do is have meatloaf and I mix it with my mashed potatoes. And it is delicious. So I wanted something without the tomato. I wanted it to taste like beef, smoky beef. And what's better than bacon? Everything goes good with bacon. And cheese. So just wait. Now the important thing about this is it's got to come up to temperature, which is it's got to be at least 160 degrees. So I'm gonna release this, and then as soon as I pop the lid, then we'll come back and I'll take a temperature reading and show you what the temperature is. So we've got 1 minute left. Stay tuned. Okay, folks, it's released. We're gonna pull this over. We'll shove the meat thermometer in. So we can see here, we're at 168.3. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's definitely done. Perfect. So now we're going to lift this sling up, but before we do that, here, bring you in, show you what it looks like. Look at that, folks. So what I like to do, you can see the grease in there. We don't want to bring out all the grease. So what I do is I take this and I just poke holes in the bottom of the tin foil. So I'll do that, get some of the grease out of the tin foil, and then I'll show you how we lift it out. Okay, so what I've done is I've poked some holes in the bottom. We're going to take this sling. You could use oven mitts. Let the grease drain. If you can, just let some of it pour out there. There we go. And we've still got some grease in there. But look at that meatloaf, folks. That's what we're talking about. That is savory meatloaf. We're just going to let this cool down. Now again, I like to make this overnight, let it set in the fridge, and then I slice it up to heat up in the microwave, and then I freeze the rest of it. So this will be my supper tomorrow. But just to show you how tender it is, no sense prolonging this video. Let's go in for a taste test right now. Here we go, folks. I'm just going to take a little piece off. That's what we're dealing with. But that's going to be super hot. I'm going to let that cool off right there. And then we'll be back in the blink of an eye to see if it's good. I think it will be. Okay, folks, here we are. That is good. You can even taste the carrots in it. That is a savory meatloaf with no tomatoes, and it's good. Jamie, signing off. You should smell that. Man, that's good. Signing off.